Ever since I moved to Cape Town, things have just been moving so quickly. Um, just getting used to the city, getting used to this new life where I'm just like independent to an extent. And yet, even though everything's changing, nothing's changing. I'm still doing the exact same stuff that I was doing. And I remember spending my last days in Soweto just labeling data sets, and you know, it was so annoying. It really was. I didn't even understand what the hell I was doing at first, right? I had to learn this new platform, framework, whatever you want to call it, RoboFlow, right? And I actually found out about RoboFlow through a video that they did where they were doing sports analysis using their own model, which they released. The name should be DEFTTR or something like that. But yeah, I watched a few of their videos and I realized, oh, their platform could actually solve my problem, which is actually something very useful to understand. Like, as long as you can demo your product to people, solving their problem, that the problem that they want to solve, there's no way that they won't use it. So, in a way, I was gaining insights even through that. But I ended up creating a RoboFlow account just to implement those same things. And then I found all these different data sets in there. Realized that I could use those data sets to train or at least test these video analysis problems. Found random videos on YouTube. I downloaded the data sets to a Google Colab, and I just created some really simple code. And then after running it, it was able to analyze the video and then come up with some really, really interesting outputs. Which, after watching them, I realized the potential of this thing. Holy shit. But the output was not really useful for my use case. And the reason for that was simply just because the data didn't match the video data. The video I fed it wasn't the type of video that generated the images in the data set. So of course I had to go ahead and learn how to label uh, data sets, which, yeah, I went to Overflow and I just got stuck in. The first thing I did was prompt an LLM, obviously asking it to run me through. And after a bit of searching and a bit of back and forth, I found where I needed to go. Uploaded a video, had it split into like 300 images. And then after a few seconds, I had a bunch of images, unannotated images. And then when I opened up the first image, I was like, oh, okay, this should be really simple. I took my time just labeling every single image one by one, just like going, just labeling just again and again. And I didn't realize just how much time it would take until at the end of the image, it had been 5 minutes. And I looked at the clock and then I looked at the number of images left, 299. There was no fucking way I was gonna keep doing this. At least that was what I thought, right? I had to be quicker. I had to be quicker because at the end of the day, the only thing we have as founders right now is speed. That's all we have on our side. So we have to move quickly. So what did I do? I continued. Image 200, image number two. I just started annotating. And after a bit of time, I realized that I actually was getting quicker. Right, by image 30, the time I would take was about 3 minutes. By image 50, the time I was taking was about 2 minutes. I was making real progress, but it was draining. I couldn't do this for a really long time. There was no fucking way. So I prompted an LLM again, and you realize that this is an actual, like, it's a really, really important theme. How I always get my best insights when I get a second opinion. I prompted an LLM asking for advice. I wanted to go quicker, but I just didn't know what to do. And the LLM was, why don't you train a model based on the already annotated images? You'll use that model to then annotate more images even quicker. And it hit me like a fucking brick. I looked at that and I was like, why the fuck didn't I do this? And so I went back to RoboFlow, and after looking a bit more, I realized, oh, they actually give you free credits. That's pretty cool. So I used those credits to train a really simple model that was able to help me. Um, the model didn't really have it didn't really have good parameters or anything. I think the MAP was about zero point 0.6 or something. Trash, honestly, like in all respects. It couldn't even detect the balls, which is like the most important thing when it comes to football. Like if you can't even detect the ball, you can't even know the direction of play unless you do like some kind of probabilistic modeling or whatever based on player movement and player counts on each side of the field and so on and so forth. But all of that, it takes a ton of data. And if you don't have a ton of data, which you can only get from a ton of data set information, you don't really have much. Okay, let's roll back to this moment, right? I've trained this model. It has an MMP of about like zero point 0.6 ish. It has an accuracy of about zero point 0.6 as well. I figure it's okay. I use it now. I have it. My method is to have it label anything it sees, anything it can recognize through object detection. And then I just label the rest, or I normalize anything that it got wrong. I fix anything that it needs to get fixed. Um, I run it once on the first image, which was, I think it was image number 52 ish. Boom, just like that, I get 15 images annotated. I look at the images, I'm like, holy shit, how long would it have taken me to label all these images? Like a minute and a half, probably. Because if you really think about it, on any moment on the field, there's about 25 objects that you really need to pay attention to. It's 11 players on team A, 11 players on team B, two referees, and the ball, 25 objects. Just like that, I had already gotten 60% of all the objects that I needed to get. I label the rest, and it takes me about, a minute because I'm still like really, really shocked. I do the next one, boom, 20 objects detected. I get really excited now. And just like that, I just start going, right? What used to take me 2 minutes is now taking me a minute. Um, I start chuckling my face off because I go from doing minutes to only, half a minute at some time. Sometimes it obviously goes longer because the image is just, players tend to overlap and now it can't detect objects properly. There's all these different kinds of cases, but I I'm totally fine with it because at the end of the day, I get to do what I need to do much, much quicker. And I think that's like the main idea here. Like because of that, I was able to get m- my images annotated as quickly as possible, quicker than ever before. Because if I had done it myself, it probably would have taken me hours. Actually, it was already going to take me hours because if I was averaging 3 minutes per image on average, and I'm just going to say 3 minutes, but it was realistically 2 or maybe like 1.5 minutes if I actually went really, really quick and avoided and didn't really care about any mistakes I was making. So 1.5 minutes for 300 images would have been a really long time. I'm not even going to calculate it. Okay, I could actually just say estimate 2 minutes per image, and then even if we go to 300 images, that's already 600 minutes. That's 10 hours, and that time was cut short by over half just because of that one decision to use AI. It really is that simple. AI is the great equalizer. It's the great. It's I don't know just how pivotal people understand, like people might not understand just how incredible this technology is. And I try to tell people, hey, like, like if you have a job and your job is like relatively simple, um, then you might not have a job in 5 years. And that is, it's a fact. Like the fact of the matter is that if you can get replaced by something like a robot, your job might just be going away in 5 years. I think I spoke about before, like the levels of leverage, how depending on how deep you are into AI, um, you probably have like a little bit of leverage if you're maybe using AI on a daily basis. If you're using AI to build apps, that's like a bit more leverage. If you're creating AI models like me, that's like a little bit more leverage. And then the highest leverage that you could ever have is if you are actually owning the infrastructure that the AI is ever gonna run on. It's so crucial to get behind this as quickly as possible. There isn't a day where I'm just not seeing some new startup that's using some kind of AI integration to really speed things up for themselves. And when I see that stuff, I get scared, but I also get excited because I understand that it it is because of this massive platform shift that's happening that there's like really huge opportunities for people like us to actually make a difference. You know, founders who literally could come from any place in the world, have any story, be any single person, and just have something to say, have a have a vision for the future and how the future is supposed to be like, and then just act in faith that we can make it happen. It really is that simple. Um, there's nothing, genuinely nothing complex about it. I mean, the gap between, say, who you are right now and who you could be, like even if you're thinking about just becoming a founder, the gap between who you are right now and who you could be is literally using the right tools. It's all just about using the right tools. Communication. I think that's like the main highest leverage skill. Finding the right tools and creating that taste within yourself to be able to communicate with them in the right ways. And yeah, that's generally all I had to say today. Extremely tired. This is way beyond my bedtime, but I guess that's just how it goes when you're a founder. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time I see you. Goodbye.